Hello and welcome to another video. Now, while it might all seem doom and gloom when it comes to surfing and coastal construction projects, there's actually many cases around the world where such projects have actually had a positive impact on surfing. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at some of the best man-made waves that aren't wave pools. First up, we've got the Superbank in Australia. Now, the Superbank is the most famous man-made wave on Earth. In 2001, the Queensland government began dredging the Tweed River. What this meant was basically sucking out all of the sand from the riverbed so bigger boats could come in and out of the Tweed River. But what this meant was that all that sand that gets pumped out would naturally drift around the coast with the current and basically like fill in to where the Superbank is today. So all of that sand that gets pumped around formed Snapper and Green Mount and that Superbank stretch today. Strange as it seems, like one of the best and most crowded waves on Earth is completely man-made on the right day, and when the sand is right, it's possible to get double, triple, quadruple barrels on the same wave. You know, it's possible to get the best waves of your life. So next up, we've got the Wedge in California. Now, the infamous shore break monstrosity that is the Wedge is a notorious wave. Originally, it was like a bodyboarding, body surfing type wave. Breaks off the jetty in Newport Beach. And obviously, because it breaks off the jetty, that's what creates the Wedge. So yeah, since the construction of the jetty, the south swells that come in kind of hit the wall and refract, meet another oncoming swell and form what we now know as the Wedge. So the jetty was originally built by George Rogers after his son died whilst coming in on a boat. You know, before the jetty was built, large swells used to break basically straight into the estuary. It used to be super dangerous. So yeah, it's made it a lot safer for boats. And it's kind of accidentally created a really amazing wave for surfers. You know, I've never surfed the Wedge. Please let me know what it's like if you have surfed it. I would love to hear a first-hand account, but it just looks fucked up. It looks so heavy and crazy on those big summer south swells. And yeah, I guess now it's surfed by bodyboarders, body surfers, and stand-up surfers, and sups, weirdly, although it looks like the worst place to sup ever. Next up is Ala Moana Bowls on the south shore of Oahu. Now, this is a really interesting one. So Ala Moana Bowls was always there, but what happened was that in 1952, these two brothers blew up a portion of the reef to make way for the entrance to the yacht harbour. Because of how the reef was blown up, the swell now bends in at a different angle and refracts onto the reef and creates like the wedging bowl effect. Again, please let me know if you're a local out there or if you surf it all the time, please let me know what it's like and why this actually happened. But yeah, it breaks onto like a super sharp, jagged reef and yeah, creates this like wedge bowl effect. It looks like a sick wave, but because it's like the go-to summer spot on Oahu, I imagine it's super, super crowded. And being right there in Honolulu, I imagine it's the most insanely crowded spot ever. So I just want to interrupt this video to let you know about a really cool brand I've started working with called Ho Stevie. Now, Ho Stevie makes some really cool surf products at basically a fraction of the price of what you pay for some of the other top surf brands. I've tried out a few of their products recently and it's been really cool. It's been really cool to work with a brand who, you know, is looking to make good but affordable surf stuff to help people like me and you just go surfing. I've been trying out their 5mm wetsuit here at home. I've had some really fun waves here at home, so 5mm has been keeping me nice and toasty, and I'm about to go traveling for the rest of the year and put all of the other stuff through its paces. So keep an eye out for that. I'll leave a link down in the description where you can check it out. But for now, let's crack on with the video. Heading to Florida now and Sebastian Inlet. So I've talked about Sebastian Inlet in a previous video where I talked about like the lost waves of the world. So originally the notorious First Peak Wedge was created by the construction of the pier. You know, the swells would come in, refract off the pier and create that beautiful like wedge that everyone knew and loved. But once they restored the pier and kind of changed its angle, it basically destroyed the wave and it doesn't break in the same way. Originally, when they first built the pier, it's what created the wave in the first place. So it's a really weird one. That's Sebastian Inlet is a wave that was created by man, but also taken away by man. Next up, we've got Sandpit in California. So after the ACOE built a seawall to protect the Santa Barbara harbor, it accidentally created what we now know as Sandspit. You know, Sandspit on the right swell is an American version of Snapper, you know, like dredging, like throaty, double up right hand barrel. I've never surfed it, but looks insane. I think it takes really specific swells to actually work and get going. So it's super, super fickle, and like anywhere in California, it's really, really crowded as well. But yeah, it's kind of a place where it's possible to get the wave of your life. So the way this worked was because of the jetty, it stopped the natural sand flow from north to south. And over time, the sand built up at the entrance of the jetty. And now when those swells hit from that specific angle, as it hits the jetty, the backwash comes off it. And then as that water drains away, it like sucks up, doubles up, and then breaks over just stupidly shallow sand. And that's why we have Sandpit as it is now. Again, if you've surfed it, I'd love to hear what it's actually like. Next up, we've got Palm Beach in Australia. Now, the Queensland government created a wave to basically spread out the crowd a little bit on the Gold Coast, which I don't think is very possible. And I'm not sure if it actually works. I mean, I've surfed Palm Beach, but I've never surfed the artificial reef. So if you live there and surf it, please let me know what it's actually like. I know it was constructed to kind of partially solve some of the Gold Coast crowding problems, but I don't know if it's worked or whether the wave's actually any good. So please let me know if you've surfed it. So another weird one is Hoola Mal in Maldives. So the Maldives is famous for its perfect waves, but what many people don't know is that the Maldives government, in an effort to get over its rising sea levels problem, has actually built a whole separate island. So the island next to Malé, called Hoola Mal, is basically entirely man-made, and the reefs that surrounding it, while they were there before, and in theory you could have surfed them, you would have needed a boat to get to them. And while they're not world class or anything, now people living there have got surf spots like right out front of their houses. So although the wave itself wasn't created by man, the accessibility of it was. So now you've got this entire island built in the middle of this like surrounding reef, and locals can access it and surf and paddle out right from the beach. So it's a really interesting one. I actually stayed there without knowing this. I didn't surf just because I was about to go to Yewww like the next day and surf cokes and stuff, so I wasn't that stressed about surfing it. But whilst I was there, I was like watching a few locals surf out there, and I didn't even know that I was on a man-made island. So yeah, please let me know of any other man-made waves that you've surfed or that you know about. I know on my Lost Waves video, a few of you guys told me about a few other waves as well that were man-made. But yeah, I just thought for this video I would stick to some of the most famous ones. So any information, any stories, please let me know. As I'd love to hear your stories. As well, thank you guys for all of the support. I really, really appreciate you watching, commenting, liking all of my videos. Basically, all of the revenue that I make now goes straight back into making more videos, which I hope you enjoy and find useful. So thanks for all your comments as well. I can't get back to everyone, otherwise I'd never get any editing done and wouldn't be able to put any more videos out there. So please know from me that I do read all of your comments, but I just can't get back to everyone. But yeah, thanks again for the support. For now, it's goodbye from me, and I'll see you in the next episode.